will I be shaken? Or stand a little taller from the hits beneath the collar I've taken? Or maybe every cell in me that ain't gone to hell is waiting. But when the daylight goes dim, I will be sailing. We were in Eureka. I was on 4 going on 5, that around that age, and I was into like the little military, little army men and things like that, like we all were at that age. And I went into this toy store to get the army men with my mother, and it was downstairs. I remember in this like a basement, orange shag carpet. I remember the windows were high, so I followed the light, and there was this like probably a toy guitar inside a packet. I didn't know what it was. I just knew that was my life. All the ways too far, may there be one more. My uncle was my stepfather's little brother, who was something of a pretty cool dude that just got involved with selling pot in college at Berkeley with his buddies. And then that became coke, and that became heroin and whatever. And so there was this one day I woke up to the news that they had found him wrapped up in a silk carpet in his own car under the Bay Bridge. But he left me this fantastic record collection. And so I always wanted to know him better because everyone was so crappy around me, except for my mother, of course. I had this incredible record collection, and I got to know him, through his music. And there was everything, man. It was like, the obvious stuff, but then there was like really there's also like obscure versions of like, live records. He was a real fan. So I had this music and those records, like I said, and the records that came out in the 80s. Now I'm doing it, and at some point I'll croak and somebody will get my music, and the flame goes on, Hello, is that you? Would you please come up to my room? 'Cause my head is hot and my window's jammed and time stops when dreams end. For me it was the Byrds. The Byrds were the American Beatles. I loved the Beatles, but I really loved Roger McGuinn, David Crosby, and those guys were next level. And then of course Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Neil Young, and gosh, Cat Stevens. It goes on and on to the Stooges. Looking around, every guitar has the stories of the previous owners. I was at a guitar show. I was like 20 years old, and it was the first time that I'd been to like a guitar show. I saw this old man walking with a guitar case, and he opened the case, and this was the guitar. And this is called the Gibson LG1, but he opened it up, and I was like, wow, well, what do you want for it? And he said, I'll take 100, and it came home with me. And it's been with me ever since. This has been my main acoustic. If you look inside, it says Hilda. So some little girl named Hilda had it first, and it's been with me on every stage I've ever played ever since. I like the shape of an LG, which it turns out 10 years later I found it, which I love too, that it means lady guitar. Guitars are kind of like watches, like they're like it's a difficult gift to give because everyone has a different ear and different, But it's a hell of a guitar, and it's went on to make all my records. It was stolen. My partner left my studio open, and these kids came in. We figured out who it was. I said, I won't press charges if you bring me everything back. That means my guitar, that means everything. They said, we could bring you everything except for the guitar because we chucked it, it's not there. We just got tired of walking with it, so we chucked it in the bushes. I put these posters up all over the place. Like fortunately I had a photograph of it, and I just said, you know, wanted or lost, you know. 4 months later, it was pretty hard to imagine that this thing was going to come back to me. And when I get this phone call from this guy, he goes, I think I have your guitar. I'm like, the rain came inside of it, and it didn't affect the top, which is the soundboard is the most important part of the sound of the instrument. But it affected all of that. It was the greatest J45 I've ever heard. It's still the greatest J45. I say that it's the second greatest J45 I've ever heard because it's second only to itself, you know. I still use it on records. I mean, still a great sounding guitar. You know, we don't own anything, not even our bodies, as you know, but, you know, these feel like they become an extension of ourselves. And I broke my back. You know, this thing's been busted up. You know, it seems to happen to my guitars. They're all broken like me. You know, but they still work. I tell you, baby, just to stay down. Tell you, baby, you can take one out on me, and he's a target for a shakedown. Something tells me you got your feet wet on me. You keep living like a straight line. Finish far with a plain out kind. Nothing seems to make sense. Well, honey, you know where I'm at.